There are a lot of scientists who are active on Twitter and use it as a platform to discuss and share ideas with other scientists. I think that now is a perfect time to move over to LinkedIn, particularly given all of the drama going on with Twitter and Elon Musk. Hi, I'm Jesse. I help scientists and aspiring scientists to communicate their research more effectively through lessons in science writing and science marketing. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why a lot of scientists are getting very interested in LinkedIn and using it, I think, more often these days. Now, for those who don't know, LinkedIn is actually a fully built out social media platform. There are a lot of people who don't use it that way and don't even think about it that way. But yeah, you can do anything that you really want there in terms of social media presence. If you want to use it as a video one, or share pictures, share text posts, anything like that, you can do that on LinkedIn, that you can like on places like Twitter. So if you are worried that like, what am I going to be doing being on a social media platform that's really just a job board, it isn't. It really isn't. You can do anything that you want there, and that there's a lot of benefits to trying those other things out, as we'll get to. Now, you might be wondering what this has to do with science writing and science marketing, but if you know marketing, you know that social media is a very big part of marketing and using social media both as an organic and paid channel. So it's something that I think a lot about, and I use social media pretty regularly these days, and I've been getting a lot more invested in LinkedIn this year, and I've been finding it really wonderful, to be honest. At first, I didn't really like it, but it's really grown on me. And I think that more scientists should give it a try, particularly what's going on. And I think that we should start there of like what has been going on Twitter with Elon Musk these days, and what does it mean for the platform going forward. Now, I'm going to summarize very quickly where the Elon Musk Twitter drama is right now in order for you to understand a little bit where it might be going in the future. But I'm sure that in the future things have changed because they've been changing pretty rapidly as I'm speaking, but the same idea still holds. The fundamental idea, though, is that Elon offers to buy Twitter back in the spring for many billions of dollars. Twitter said, yes, let's do this. It was several months down the road of when the actual transaction was going to take place. Elon Musk seemed to get cold feet about it, started making up these allegations, well, not only making up, but making allegations around the spam bots, or the number of bots on Twitter. Twitter basically said this is all like, irrelevant to the nature of the deal that we actually struck up. Now they're in a very like he said, she said kind of fight about what exactly was in the nature of the contract, and Elon is trying to back out essentially, and they're very likely going to be going to court, probably in 2023, in order to start resolving this. So what does it actually mean, though, for social media users? Users on Twitter are going to be in a very weird purgatory for the foreseeable future for a few different reasons. One, any like a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit, which is what this is going to be dragged out over the course of many years. Like, it's very likely to start the case in 2023, and it's not going to be let up for quite some time, because that's the nature of these sorts of legal battles, and that's the nature of the American legal system. So I think that this is going to be drawn out for quite some time, and it's not going to be good for Twitter as a platform. I think that Twitter has a very good chance of winning in the long run, but the media PR problems that it is going to be encountering in this time are pretty dramatic, and there's also going to be in a weird position where they have to want to be bought by Elon Musk, because that's what the nature of the contract that they got into, but they're probably not going to actually be bought by Elon Musk in the end. It's probably just going to be like $1 billion penalty or something like that. So it's going to be really complicated and very weird for several years into the future, and as a result, this is going to have a very detrimental impact, I think, on the quality of the experience on Twitter itself, because the company is going to be under a lot of stress. And as a result, things that are going wrong on the platform are not going to improve, which is a great transition to what's wrong with Twitter right now. There are a lot of reasons to love or hate Twitter, but as a scientist, it's really not a great platform for you, because there are a lot of just randoms who are hanging out there, or bots even that are hanging out there, that'll just jump into comments of an otherwise mature conversation and just start throwing bullshit around. Like, there's people who are the vaccine deniers, or just random homophobes and misogynists. Like anybody who's the armchair expert might jump into your conversation at any time, lob hot takes, personal insults, and piss off. And that kind of structure to the discourse has a lot of problems, both for the people who are using it and for the people who might want to use it. For the people who are using it, it disrupts normal conversations. It makes actual discourse and exchanging of ideas on the platform very difficult. But for people who might want to use it, they might be worried about, like, hey, if I start engaging on Twitter, I'm going to get made fun of, or I'm going to have my views attacked by some random anti-vaxxer. Like, I'm a vaccine scientist or involved in the pharmaceutical industry in some way. I don't see this as being a safe space for me. And I think that's particularly clear for people who don't look like me, women and minorities. They might not feel safe, essentially, on a platform like Twitter. And I think this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of scientists who I've seen on Twitter complaining about the experience of using the platform, because you have all of these randoms. There's also just an asymmetry to this as well, because if you're trying to present yourself as a scientist on the platform of Twitter, you probably want to use your real name, your real picture, things of that nature in order to reinforce your status and prove that you know what you're talking about. And that means that you're a lot more easy to attack. And the people who are attacking you might just be randoms that don't have that sort of information. They could be duplicate accounts. Like, it could be lots of different things. So there's that asymmetry there of, like, you are at a lot more risk than they are. And this begins to relate to why I think that LinkedIn is a much better platform for scientists. The fact that everybody on the platform is not only, like, unanonymized in important ways, but they also are tied to their work account in many respects. Like, they have their employer listed right there. I think you have a lot fewer just jackasses going in and saying things that are totally crazy and totally obnoxious. Now, they exist, of course. I mean, you're going to have that on any social media platform, but they are less common than on a platform like Twitter. The fact that you have a much more built-out profile is also, I think, very helpful for scientists on LinkedIn, because you don't just have, like, a little header and username and that's it. You have a fully built-out profile that includes things like research papers that you've written in the past, your entire employment history. So that'll help people who are saying, like, if I'm writing about vaccines or whatever, they can look through my profile and say, like, oh, yeah, they've worked in vaccines now for 15 years, and they can see that right in your profile. And that's going to be a lot more, make you look more legitimate compared to on Twitter, where you don't really have any of that information. These benefits in some respects are even secondary to what I see as the main reason to switch over to LinkedIn. The main reason to switch over to LinkedIn is it has much better chances of affecting your long-term career potential than just being on Twitter. The fact that the majority of the people who are on LinkedIn are professionals who take their career seriously means that the people who are actually looking at your posts and interacting with them are more likely to be the kind of people who might hire you in the future, or that might collaborate with you in the future. Like, you have a lot more of those advantages in that way, and you can build reputation and connections with them in a long-term basis. So that has potential for your career trajectory as well. It's a lot easier, I think, also to find sort of friends of friends in the way in which they have their networking done. So if you, for instance, are trying to apply for a job in a company that you don't know anyone who works there, you can maybe find somebody who's a friend of a friend and get an introduction through that kind of mechanism. And then you can also just attract people to you around a particular idea. That's something that's true of sort of every social media platform, but I think that's particularly true of LinkedIn, that people are trying to be gravitating towards topic matters, especially professional topic matters. So if you want to portray yourself as an expert in lung cancer, or impurities in pharmaceuticals, or high pressure liquid chromatography, like, it doesn't really matter what the subject is. If you post about that regularly on LinkedIn, you're going to attract people who care about that topic. And you can even publish things like newsletters through LinkedIn, and once again reinforce that same network of people who are interested in following you for a particular idea. What if you're somebody who's very happy about your current position, as you get, like, the current company that you work for? Well, this is another great way for you to maybe find other people to bring to your company, that you can recruit others in the work that you do. Like, there's just all sorts of different ways that you can use the platform. And I think that, for instance, like, recruiting via Twitter is just a lot harder to do, because you don't know who these people are a lot of the times. And it's a lot easier to verify that they're a real person, I think, in that LinkedIn style, and just like the nature of the relationships and the interactions, I think makes it a lot easier to build those kinds of connections that can then be mobilized into something more in the future, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Overall, though, I think that LinkedIn is really having a special moment right now. There's a lot of potential for people to transition over, and I think that as scientists begin to realize what you can do with the platform, you're going to see more and more people moving over to this more professional, more mature platform rather than Twitter that just I don't think has ever been a very natural fit for the scientific community. So the fact that we can build that now and that there has been this increased interest as a result of this jolt from the Elon Musk Twitter drama, I almost see as like an activation energy kind of event where it was never really a stable situation with all the scientists being on Twitter, and it made more sense for them to be on LinkedIn. And this is a moment that can kind of push it over the edge and catalyze it, I guess, or something like that of, moving over to kind of more where it makes sense for them to be. But anyway, that is my take on the situation right now. You should go check it out. There's a link in the description below that you can follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn. I accept all connection requests. So be sure to check that out if you want to get started on the platform. But yeah, it's a lot of fun and I love to vibe with you there. But if this video has been useful for you, be sure to like and subscribe. I'd love to hear any feedback or questions that you have about this, and I might add more about how maybe scientists can use LinkedIn more effectively in the future if there's interest in something like that. But anyway, that's all I have to say on this one. Take care, folks.